Thank you so much, Attorney General and Mr. President. It's really good seeing you. And how do we get here? When I was in Washington, D.C., we were in a meeting, and the President pulled me into the Oval Office. And after asking what could he do for the city and our desire to deal with violence, I had a brief nod, and I was about to walk out. And he grabbed me by my arm and turned me around and looked into my eyes. And he says, "Eric, what can we do?" And I told him the help we needed. And I asked him several things, but two of them was, one, to come to New York and to speak with our city, state, and federal law enforcement personnel so we could have a 9/11 response to this violence. We came together as a country when international terrorists decided to change our way of life, and we responded. And the response was the same by this president. In August, this room came together, some of the finest men and women in law enforcement, and they meet every day to zero in on the violence that is attempting to take our way of life. And I thank you for your response, and Mr. President, I thank you for your response. And then I asked him to go on the ground, because it's about intervention and prevention. And prevention are the long-term things we need to do. I asked him to go on the ground with us to meet the crisis management teams, the everyday people who are doing the hard work in alignment with the police department. And today, we're going out to Queensbridge and meet that team, where a young man named Kay Bain is using his skills to bring down violence. And in his area, we saw 0 homicides for a period of time. But it was not only because of what he did, it was because of what D.A. Katz did to partner with him by bringing down those known violent offenders. That's the combination we need. And I'm biased, Mr. President, because I have some of the best congressional delegations here in New York. Joining us today, we have the Dean of the delegation that's here, Congressman Nadler. We have Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Congresswoman Grace Mean, Congressman Tom Suozzi, and we have the top Attorney General anywhere in this country, an Attorney General, Letitia James, and as you indicated, we have two of the best U.S. attorneys in the Southern and Eastern District that's here with us. We were so proud to meet with them yesterday, but also a district attorney team. As we see here, Katz, Darcel Clark, McMahon out in Staten Island, and D.A. Braggs. A real concerted and combined effort to get this done. And then I think about Congressman Espaillat. In his district, where the 2 officers were slain, but also in his district was where an 11-month-old baby was shot while sitting by her mother. Also in his district was where a 19-year-old child working in Burger King was shot and killed. And he was on the ground for each one of those incidents, standing with me as we fought against this violence. The police commissioner and I are dedicated and committed to turning this around. I made the best choice anyone can make in picking a police commissioner. She's the right person at the right time to do the right job, and I'm proud to serve with her. We know how important this is. Yesterday, we gathered at St. Patrick's Cathedral in mourning. Today, here at One Police Plaza, where I walked across that stage as a captain, we're here in solidarity to deal with the issue of violence that has become pervasive in not only New York City, but in the cities across America. And I want to thank all of you for joining me as we pursue this fight to make sure the stain of violence does not destroy our communities. And U.S. Attorney General Garland, I appreciate your commitment and dedication in living up to the promise that was done with your team as we sat in the room with Ambassador Susan Wright and sitting there with the president and other mayors across the city as we deal with this issue. The president is here because he knows what the American people want. justice, safety, and prosperity, and they deserve every bit of it. And he wants to end the gun violence in our city and in our country, and a future built on equality and opportunity, because the lack of the two feeds the gun violence that we are seeing. Far too often when we advocate for this, Mr. President, people miss the part that we state. We want to end inequality. Let's stop being divisive and united to come together and deal with this fight. We are on the same page. There is a reason they call me the Biden of Brooklyn. That's what New Yorkers want too. That's what I campaigned on, and it's why you elected me as the mayor of the city of New York. And it's what the president came here today to hear from you and to deliver. Last week, my administration released our blueprint to end gun violence. There are many rivers, as you stated, that feed the sea of violence. We must dam every river. One river will cause another death prematurely in our city. And many reasons these rivers have continued to rise in our city and in our country, and we're going to stop them from doing so. But the president and these leaders that are here today, we are going to work together to end this violence in our city and in our country. When President Biden and I first met last summer, we hit it off right away. We had a clear mission, the average Joe, they call him, because we know we have to build a city and a country that's made up of everyday New Yorkers and Americans. He knows that public safety and justice are the bedrock of our economy, our democracy, and our society. And we know who we work for, the people. And that includes the dishwasher, people who wear coveralls, aprons, scrubs, and hard hats, the everyday people who just want to provide for their families and one day go from being a dishwasher, a mailroom attendant, and become a mayor of the city of New York. Everyday New Yorkers and everyday Americans. The people who want to raise their families in a city and in a country with good jobs, good schools, and safe streets. We both know our highest calling. Our most important mission is protecting the people of this city and of this country, making sure they have what they need to live their lives in safety, and helping them recover after 2 years of the devastation of COVID, crisis, and violence. There is no recovery without public safety. There is no recovery without justice. They go hand in hand. That is why we're working in lockstep to end the gun violence that has shaken our city, our nation, to protect our people and the officers who sworn to protect us, and to restore the American dream of safety, stability, and prosperity. That is why the president is here in New York City, in this city today. He understands how serious this moment is. We need, as I stated, a 9/11 type response to address the domestic terror that is pervasive in this city and country. And President Biden is here to deliver on his promise to come here. He committed to it, and he is here. And get New Yorkers the backup we need. Far too long we called for backup, and it was not here. It is time to have that backup. This morning, the White House announced that the federal government would direct more resources to fight local crime around the country, expand the information sharing model that you are going to witness here today, Mr. President, and call for more funding for Congress for violent interrupters, something that my congressional delegation understands so clearly. We could build back if we pass Build It Back. That is how we build America back. And scale up a nationwide response to this public health crisis that is gun violence. That's why we're here today, to bring together our federal, state, and city partners in common cause. We're going to stop gun trafficking from coming into our city, get illegal guns off the streets, and lock up those who carry them, and make sure that they don't leave prison or jails without the opportunities they need, so they don't have a revolving door of crime in our city and country. We're going to provide funding for cities and states to put more police officers in the places we need them, invest in community violence prevention and intervention programs, and change our laws to prevent crime and save lives, and do it in a way that we can disagree without being disagreeable, because we are in this fight together. We're going to break and destroy the iron pipeline that allows southern states in this country to produce weapons that end up on the streets and take the lives of our police officers, Mora and Rivera. And I want to, again, take my hat off to Officer Summit, who protected countless numbers of New Yorkers and responding police officers by taking the appropriate action to end the threat that we were facing. We're going to dam those rivers of violence and address the sources of those violence. It's about more than fighting crime. As Congressman Velasquez reminds us all the time, it's about rebuilding our society. It's not just locking people up. It's about picking them up and giving them the opportunity to do so. That is why the American people elected Joe Biden to lead them. That is why we're willing to follow that leadership. And that is why I'm proud to be here today among the men and women who wore that same uniform that I wore, to stand shoulder to shoulder with the president. And we want to get stuff done. That's the administration of the Biden's administration and the Adams administration, to get stuff done for the American people. And Mr. President, Eric Adams is reporting for duty and ready to serve.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to our governor.